Every year, there are millions of people aspiring to become online content creators. And while most of the time they either succeed or fail, on some rare occasions, things wind up being a bit more violent. In the early 2010s, the Call of Duty commentary community was one of the largest on YouTube, with channels like XJaws and Wings of Redemption being some of the most popular of the era, playing different installments in the series while talking to their audience. One up-and-coming channel in the genre was an extremely small creator that went by the name Era Dixie. The moniker was derived from his appearance on the Era Call of Duty clan in 2012, making his debut in a video entitled Dixie Dust, where he showed off some of his trick-shotting skills. While Dixie was showing a lot of promise at the time, unfortunately he would disappear from the internet completely just 2 years later, leaving fans completely clueless as to where he had gone. The last anyone had heard from him was when he entered a contest to win entrance into the esteemed FaZe clan, which he lost.
I see FaZe as more than just a sniping team. You guys are clearly looking for someone who's entertaining to watch, someone who is different.
Some speculated that Dixie decided to leave the internet because he had become bored of trick-shotting, not uncharacteristic for less dedicated members of the community. Others surmised that despite his enthusiasm at the start, years of rejection and low viewership made him give up. In fact, Dixie's story as a whole was largely forgotten by the public, and even his small subscriber base eventually moved on to watching other trickshotters, until the genre fizzled out. However, things all changed in November of 2020, when a video was published to Twitter by VKs, an avid Call of Duty fan and creator. The recording was captioned, "Former COD trickshotter known as Era Dixie joined ISIS and died fighting for them." With such a bombastic claim, many wondered if this could be real. The story allegedly goes as follows. Dixie's long and active Twitter account shows his location as Hamilton, a fairly large city in the Ontario province of Canada, and a now removed video from his YouTube channel shows his real name, Muhammad. A tweet that VKs managed to dig up from 2014 claims that Dixie converted to an extreme form of Islam and then he went overseas to fight for ISIS and died. At the time this allegedly happened, none of it could be proven, and for some reason no one had managed to put the pieces together. That was until now. In an article recently rediscovered from 2014 by the National Post, they report on a young man from Canada named Mohammed that's cited as the first Canadian jihadist that was killed in the fight against ISIS. Looking at an image of Dixie next to an image of the man at the top of the article, they do appear to be the same person. But could this just be a freak mix-up? Did Dixie actually die in Syria? Well, one quote from the article brings us a further point of evidence, reading, "Online, Mr. Muhammad seemed more concerned with video games than world events. He chatted about Call of Duty, a series of first-person shooter games praised for their realistic and intense combat simulation." This quote made it seem like a clear match to the missing trickshotter. Even with all that being said, determining if he was killed is a bit more difficult. Articles note that it's extremely hard to determine if anyone has actually died fighting in the Middle East for ISIS, because of the lack of records, but it does seem like it was a strong possibility in this case. And those that knew him personally were shocked by the path Muhammad had gone down. According to the principal of his old high school, he was an extremely sociable and positive member of the community. She also claims that he was academically driven and participated in after-school activities. But his father would go on to explain that after high school, Muhammad had become extremely devout in his faith after visiting a large mosque in Minneapolis while traveling. His family lost contact with him shortly thereafter. Overall, Muhammad's father was extremely disturbed by the entire ordeal, pointing out that his son used to pray, but he increased it to 24 hours of prayers, and that he was rarely away from mosques. He arranged his travel without my knowledge, and then he ended up in Syria. All of us are very saddened. What is even more eerie is that his friends say he completely withdrew from them by the summer of 2014, which lines up with when Dixie lost the contest to join FaZe Clan. What's clear is that Muhammad was trying to find where he belonged in life. life. And at the end of the day, he decided it was fighting with Muslim extremists in the Middle East. But who knows if things would have turned out differently had he won the contest and gained success in the world of online video. But alas, we'll never know. Unfortunately, there are many other cases of aspiring YouTubers going down the wrong path. We'll learn about another case after a brief word from our sponsor.
Are those silver bullets?
Yes.
Okay. Where's the killing me? I feel exhausted. I have an energy drink, but they always make me crash. I need something to keep me going until sunrise. Should be enough time to slaughter some prey before I return to my uniform. Got anything? Sugar-free energy formula? Yes. Yes, thanks, stupid boy!
It's no surprise that health and exercise channels have blown up in popularity over the last decade on YouTube. With millions trying to improve their physique, they flock to channels that can guide them through their journey. This is where Eric Steltzer comes into the picture. A young man in his mid-20s standing at 6'8" and weighing a whopping 300 pounds. He could be found most days at the gym making gains. And with this love of bodybuilding, he started a YouTube channel and Instagram account to show people how he achieved his goals. That was until one cold winter day in 2018. The focus of today's story began when Eric met 24-year-old Megan Tapley online and they began dating. While things appeared to be good at first, warning signs became apparent when Steltzer confessed his love for Megan just a few days after meeting, but she decided to stick around. While for a romantic, this could initially be chalked up to love at first sight, she became increasingly worried about Eric over the next few weeks. According to an interview, Megan claimed that Eric told her that he was the purest form of human being, and that his grandfather had fought side by side with Hitler in the Second World War. This still wasn't enough to break things off with the 6'8" bodybuilder as they continued their relationship. But in hindsight, it was clear that something was not right, which would soon escalate to her being viciously attacked by the aspiring YouTuber. Why would Eric do this to the woman he supposedly loved? Well, according to sources, Steltzer was in some state of rage because while on the phone with his mother, she told him that he was not able to speak to his sister. Somehow, in his mind, he believed that this meant Megan had killed his family members, leading to the start of the altercation. Police were called to Eric Steltzer's home on December 27th because they had received a report of loud noises and some kind of disturbance. When they arrived at his residence, they could hear someone screaming from inside the house, saying, "He's killing me! Help! He's killing me!" Once indoors, what they found was nothing short of a grotesque and profoundly disturbing scene. Inside his home, officers were able to find the couple completely naked and covered in blood. There was fluid all over the room, including the walls, and scattered everywhere was also broken glass. At the center of this mess, Steltzer was seen putting his girlfriend in a chokehold as well as pressing a glass shard to her neck, actively threatening her. Apparently, the woman was having a hard time remaining conscious and believed she was dying, but after the police officers talked to Steltzer, they were able to get him to let her crawl away. From there, they ordered him to submit and get on the ground, which they claimed he refused to do. He was in a state of rage and continued to get angry, supposedly screaming "I am God" at the police officers, as well as making strange growling noises the entire time. They attempted to fire their tasers at him, and while this did appear to work for a short time, he managed to power through it and get back up. The weightlifter was tased a total of 3 times in a row before he completely fell to the floor, allowing them to handcuff him. At this point, he began to vomit violently and was taken to the hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. According to statements from Steltzer's family, he had a history of mental illness and was acting erratically in the days leading up to the incident. He had the police called on him by his sister 3 days prior, but they determined that his condition was not enough to justify involuntary commitment to a mental hospital or treatment facility. The toxicology report from after the fact also revealed he had a few low-grade drugs in his system, as well as his heart being extremely enlarged. However, the actual cause of death was determined to be the repeated tasing he received during the altercation. Unfortunately, it appears that Steltzer's untreated mental illness led him to having some kind of breakdown, which ultimately led to his sad demise. As for Megan, though she ended up surviving the stabbing, that didn't mean she wasn't left without scars, both physically and mentally. According to those that knew her, she was so badly beaten that she required rehab after reconstruction procedures on her face and body, a surgery to fix her broken hand, and other treatments for her scalp, as Eric had ripped out the majority of the hair from her head. Even all this time later, no one knows for sure what was going through Eric's head the day of the incident. So there you have the story of 2 people that met a painful and tragic demise. And if there's a moral to any of this, I think it's that if you're trying to aspire to be a YouTuber, it's probably in your best interest not to join ISIS or attack your girlfriend. And with that thought, I'll end the video here. So until next time, thanks for watching.